This is Around the Monitor, the bi-weekly gaming news talk show where every point you make in the discussion is a point towards winning. I'm your host, Zach. The way things work here, we talk through the week's news in gaming. Every time somebody makes an interesting point or a good bit, they get an actual point, and whoever has the most at the end of the show wins for that week. You can catch it live on twitch.tv/SaveDataTeam every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're watching live, you can use the Twitch channel points to influence the score, either giving or taking away points as you see fit once per round. Joining us once again, we've got the world's #1 Psychonauts 2 fan. That's David.
What's up? I don't have a bit for this show this week. Sorry.
Hey,
tune into the Xbox conference on Sunday. Well, I do have a bit planned.
Oh, exciting. We've got the Ace Attorney, Pridge.
Good evening, everyone.
We've got Subpixel Subpar, Ian.
Wow, you know what? I'm like a great Thai meal. You have no idea how spicy I am.
Okay, that was good. That was good. And of course, rounding out the group, we've got the hockey stick and sickle herself, Elise.
Newly titled Deserter.
This is another Destiny thing.
This is another Destiny
Okay.
thing.
Anteluster tier 10 bit saying, ouch, Zach, uncalled for. Just wait until we get into the speed. If by the end of this game you aren't anti-Ian, then Ian has done something. This is not Ian. This is a different human being.
No, Chat's siding with Ian.
Wow.
Can I just say, part of me wants to play like the perfect little good boy during the stream and
Win over all of our
balls to do that. You guys are gonna have bad takes tonight, and I need to call them out.
Oh,
I was gonna say, I
God.
don't know that it's balls as much as you just can't resist.
Sure. And hey, look at this. Before the show's even started, Tsuneyama gives a point to Ian because what the fuck, Zach? Listen. We'll see.
Thank you.
Hey, folks, if you didn't know, that we always start the show with a trivia question to determine the talking order. And hey, this week, probably somebody's going to talk about the rumored sequel to 1-2 Switch. My question to you all is not how many copies did the former 1-2 Switch sell? That's the easy question.
That's the easy question.
That's the obvious question, I should say. Instead, I want to know how many different mini games are included in 1-2 Switch?
I feel like it's 15.
12.
This is 15.
I'm gonna settle on. I was gonna go a little bit lower, but then David already said 12, which is where I was going.
You can't. At least you can't get the habit of changing.
No, I know. I was gonna say I think it's 15, but I want to go a bit lower. Right? That wasn't my first guess. I'm gonna go with 13.
Okay, 13. David says 12.
1, 2, 12. You guys got it right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll throw out 10.
Okay. 10 for Ian.
I'll just take the low ball and say 8.
Okay. I thought anybody other than Elise was gonna get closer, but it's 28. So
Wait, really?
yeah.
Zach, how many?
I
How
need to see.
that many games?
Show me your work.
I googled it. It said 28 games.
Was that written by a 1-2 Switch fan who counts like 2-player mode, 3-player mode, 4-player mode separately?
Yeah, exactly.
Kieran in the chat's like, a lot of the games aren't really games.
Yeah. No. It's,
Settings, exit.
the sound
Man,
menu.
I love the game Exits.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I mean, when you're playing 1-2 Switch, that's my favorite button.
Yeah. I play it first every time.
That was pretty good. Let's do a quick run through of this week's topics. We've got the story behind the indie game Abandoned just keeps getting worse and worse. Is this game ever going to come out? Probably not. Turns out
The
E3
answer
is
may not surprise you.
yeah. E3 might in fact not be dead. According to the ESA, they're planning to come back in a big way in 2023. Speaking of, we've got the Summer Games Fest roundup of what was announced just yesterday, which many fans agree was pretty underwhelming. As I mentioned before, yes, we've got the 1-2 Switch rumored sequel that is mostly finished, but apparently is so bad that a lot of people at Nintendo don't even want to put the game out because of how bad it'll make them look. Xbox is going to bring Game Pass to cloud streaming on Samsung televisions later this year, meaning you won't even have to buy the console. It'll just be on your television. GameStop employees have walked out of a store in Nebraska telling people to shop elsewhere, explicitly giving them numbers and addresses to other stores to shop. Sonic Frontiers gameplay was revealed this week, and folks are tepid at best on this. We'll see. It's supposed to come out this year, though. Word on the street also is that God of War is going to be coming this year, and actually, we may be hearing more about it later this month. Midnight Suns, the Firaxis game, Marvel meets XCOM, was shown this week. Just trailers, but hey, behind closed doors, people got to play it, and they actually said it was pretty good. Diablo Immortals is getting roasted for its microtransactions. It's rough out there for Blizzard. Nintendo wanted to send a message with the sentencing of Gary Bowser. This is, of course, the piracy person who was putting out a bunch of ROMs earlier this year. Got sent a very hefty fine by Nintendo. And last but not least, the Grammys are going to be adding a Best Video Game Soundtrack Award next year. Elise, you're up first in the order. What would you like to talk about?
I'm talking about 1-2 Switch, baby.
Hey!
This is just so funny to me.
It's pretty buck wild.
You remember 1-2 Switch? The game with apparently, what was it, 28 minigames?
28 minigames, yeah.
28
I don't believe it.
minigames. That no one liked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say no one liked, but it received very critical reviews. I played it a little bit. It was fun for about 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just a bunch of basically tech demos for the Switch hardware.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be, it was marketed as like this, Wii Sports for the Switch, and it was not any of that. It was games about fucking doing a quick draw or feeling how many ice cubes were in a cup.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Based on the 3D Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're making another one, or at least trying to.
Uh-huh.
It's tested, and every playtester said it was bad, like embarrassingly bad.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just making more mini games, maybe more interesting mini games, they decided to say, "Hey, Jackbox, everyone likes that.
Uh-huh.
Let's take some of that." So they made them more like party games, and they introduced a host because Jackbox games, those all have hosts. They've got Jack, Cookie Masterson, iconic. This host for 1-2-3 Switch, or everybody's 1-2 Switch.
Uh-huh.
Which is the name they came down to, apparently, was horse. A bipedal horse in like a rubber horse head.
Uh-huh.
Fucking Tomska.
Uh-huh.
And that was a choice. Certainly a choice. Apparently they said horse because it sounds like host.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I mean, they have 3 similar letters.
And not just, it wasn't just like a weird host that no one liked. It was also players, including families with children, described the games as tedious and boring, and many didn't even want to play through entire rounds. These are like 2-minute games. Imagine your game being so boring that people can't sit through 2 minutes of it.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
Almost like it's Factorio, man.
Oh!
Quoting from the article, in the bingo example, one player would use a Joy-Con to mime digging out a number before reading it off the TV, a process playtesters described as tedious.
Yeah. Also, like, who the fuck wants to play bingo? It's 2022. Like, fucking kill me. We've created better forms of entertainment by now.
Home.
Yeah.
Or the VFW.
Like,
I think my favorite detail from this article was that Nintendo localizers had a nickname for the game. Horseshit.
yes. which is so like it's so
That's
rough.
pretty good.
I was gonna say my favorite detail from this article is they were so confident in this game that they had all the post-production, or at least a good portion of the post-production done. They had like their boxes printed. They're like shit printed that there's apparently like boxes and boxes full of unfilled everybody's 1-2 Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Just like at Nintendo. And they were still confident on a full $60 release. They also did 1-2 Switch as a full $60 release. Which
It was
bad at the
$50.
time.
It was $50. But as
$50
one of the people who actually bought that, I regretted it heavily.
You dumb fuck.
As I said, it was a game that was fun for 2 minutes.
Should have been a pack-in.
Yeah.
Should have been
Yes.
a disappointing pack-in.
100%.
What everyone's
100%.
saying, it should have been a pack-in. And even then, it would basically be just like a tech demo.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were so confident that, hey, our last game had poor critical circumstances, but it sold well. You know what it sold well?
Because there was
Because it was
6
like
games. It was one of the 6 games you could have bought, and one of them was fucking Bomberman. Like,
Exactly.
and hey, I love Bomberman, but like, yeah. Apparently, I'm getting dragged in the chat for saying bingo isn't that fun. Y'all just like, I don't play a video game instead. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, you could make a good bingo video game though if it was like literally like 40 cards and you have to like stamp it as fast as you can and it becomes like an idler
Speed
game, like
bingo.
incremental.
Yeah.
Yes, you could do it. You could do it, Zach.
Some would call that game the Dark Souls of bingo.
But yeah, we'll see what comes of this. I've said in the Discord, but my hope is that they'll just release this on the Switch online service as a free game. Again, it will be disappointing, but it will still be free, and so then therefore people can't really complain about it.
Be
But
less disappointing than buying them.
yeah. But
60 United States dollars.
yeah, no,
Dear Lord.
absolutely not. David, you're up next in the order. What would you like to talk about for the second topic of the show?
Let's talk about E3 not being dead, maybe, possibly, potentially. Who knows?
Oh yeah, okay. Tell us about that E3.
Listen, folks, it's June. That means it's E3 season any other year, except for 2020 and this year, because the E3 didn't happen either of those times. But we all thought E3 was dead. I sure as hell thought E3 was dead. News outlets everywhere thought E3 was dead. Hell, Jeff Grubb got a printed shirt that had him standing in front of a grave saying that E3 was dead.
Yep.
Everyone thought E3 was dead. And the ESA is out here claiming that they are coming back loud and proud in 2023, something big. Hopefully, presumably an in-person event and digital, which is what they really
that's what they
have
said.
needed to do the whole time, and kind of what Jeff Keighley wanted them to do back in 2019 when he separated from them. I think this is good for 2 reasons, folks. Keighley has been trying to take the mantle of E3 the past couple years, and while I do think the Game Awards are overall good and a fun time, and on Game Live, the fall thing that goes with
Gamescom Live.
Gamescom
Live.
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
I don't know why I was blanking on that one. That he hosts is also fun because that one doesn't have super high stakes usually. It's just like, hey, here's some fun stuff, usually indies. But he's been trying to replace E3, and really everyone's not on the same fucking page.
No.
And I think that's been pretty blatant the past couple years, even with E3 being around last year in a digital form. Which is why I just want someone to actually unite people. And if there is an in-person event that everyone's trying to go to, and, you know, as part of that event deal, they're like, hey, if you're going to do a showcase, it needs to be part of E3, and it needs to be, like, scheduled in with all the other showcases. It creates cohesion compared to the bullshit that's happening right now, where PlayStation's just like, hey, you know what? We're doing a state of play in 2 days. We're going to be like, hey, there's only going to be third-party stuff, and then, like, actually do large announcements at it. And you don't know day to day, like, state of play to state of play, which ones are going to be cool and which ones are going to be total ass.
Yeah, you have no idea if you should actually tune
absolutely
into
no
it or not, which is so frustrating.
And this past one, I almost didn't tune into because they're like, oh, it's PSVR 2 stuff and some third-party announcements.
Yeah.
And those are usually the ones that you don't want to watch.
Yeah.
but it had bangers. The last State of Play had a bunch of good stuff. So I was like, okay, glad I didn't skip that one, but I really wish these were consistent. The E3 showcases, other than last year's Embracer and Coke Media Group and Gearbox all trying to do their own thing and all just like crashing and burning, they've been consistent. Like, hey, here are the big showcases from the big publishers. They're going to show their stuff. If you're a smaller group, you can go to like Devolver maybe if they're publishing your game, or you just you attach yourself to one of the big shows, or the Future Game Show or the PC Gamer Show, depending on how big you are. And it made everything easier because you could just go to a place, find the news, you knew what you were getting each place you went to. It was great compared to Summer Games Fest, which I'll not spoiling the topic too much, but it was a piece of shit this year. I took off time for work to watch that with you all, and I wasted 2 hours.
Wasn't that bad?
There was
yes, it was.
there were things for other people. There was literally not a single game at that show for David.
You don't want to play. You don't want to play 4 different space horror games.
7, Pridge. There was like 7.
I was being conservative.
Yeah.
But I for one would like E3 to come back. I think more competition at the same time. Also having some cohesion is good, because I think having Jeff own winter and E3 own the summer has been a good system so far. Summer Games Fest has been kind of not great, so I would like to go back to E3. Thank you, please.
Yeah, it is baffling to me how Jeff is generally pretty dang good at getting everybody on the same page for winter for the Game Awards, and how bad he has been at getting people to rally behind his banner for the summer. And I don't understand why that is, but
I'm gonna guess. I have no idea. This is no insight. This is just guessing. Is that Game Awards is still his bread and butter and his focus, and it takes like most of the year for them to plan and coordinate the people to show up and have
yeah.
I think this summer Game Fest has been a little more like, they knew where they're going to do it, but it's not the focus like Game Awards is. Because it doesn't have the pomp and circumstance. It doesn't have the level of marketing and ads as Game Awards does. So I think it's secondary, and I think especially this year you can tell it's secondary. There wasn't shit.
It's also that Summer Games Fest kind of started out and still mostly is more of a banner than an event. It's just like a period of time where a bunch of game companies put out their direct state of plays, whatever they call it, put Summer Games Fest at the beginning and end, and get a bit of extra publicity from that. And it's less than E3, where it's like, one big weekend, and it was meant to be, this month-long thing with more spread out. And that might be why the big thing yesterday was a bit disappointing, is because a lot of companies are saving their announcements for their own things that are still technically part of Summer Games Fest.
Yeah.
And I think Summer Games Fest is Jeff Keighley, whereas E3 is a joint venture of basically video game companies.
True.
So I think there's more cohesion working together with E3 compared to working with Jeff Keighley.
But to move things along here, Ian, you're up next.
Yeah,
first time on the show. What are you talking about?
Let's talk about Xbox bringing Game Pass to Samsung TVs this year.
Okay.
So quick rundown of this. This news item came out earlier this week. Basically, Xbox announced that they've closed a deal with Samsung for some of their newer smart TVs. Starting on June 30th, you're going to be able to play xCloud, which is kind of the Game Pass Xbox online streaming platform. You're going to be able to play that on their smart TVs at 1080p 60 FPS. At least that's the targeted ceiling for it. They kind of snuck it out as part of pre-E3 news, where they're like, hey, let's get this out so it doesn't take up room in our press conference, but we still kind of want to talk about it. And then at the same time, they also had a press embargo go up or drop down, however you want to put it, where essentially some members of the press got their hands on with this TV. So how this is different from normal cloud streaming, number one, barely different, but number two, it's a TV. It's through the smart TV interface, the same as you would load Netflix or anything else on the smart TV. There's not a streaming stick. There's not a console. You can pair the controller, your Xbox or PS5 controller, directly to the TV to play these games.
Oh, they let you do the PS5 controller. That's actually really cool of them.
That's how it is for the phones too.
Yeah. And first impressions are that it's xCloud. You know, it matches xCloud quality on the TV. It's not amazing. It's not better than the console, but it's usable. I mean, I've done xCloud. I think I did it once because we had a stream coming up and I couldn't get a game to install, and I ended up just having to do xCloud for the stream, and it worked out okay. But here's my take on this. This ain't really news. Xbox announced more than a year ago at the last quote-unquote E3, they announced they're working on an Xbox streaming stick, and they also announced we're making deals with smart TV manufacturers to bring xCloud to the TVs. And this is still cool, but here's the fact, folks. We ain't the target audience for this. You know, this is like a cool hotel room pack-in. You know, when I used to do a bunch of business travel before COVID, it was like, hey, it'd be kind of cool if instead of a god-awful 27-inch 720p TV, they happen to have a TV and a controller, and they're like, hey, you want to play some Xbox games while you're here? And be like, yeah, sure. I'll boot up xCloud. Cloud saves, log into my Game Pass, etc. I've got everything I need right there. That'd be pretty cool. It's also great for low-income gamers. You know, for a long time, I was one of those gamers that just had $0. I couldn't afford a console. I couldn't afford $60 games. So if you told me I could pay $15 a month for Game Pass, buy the controller once, and play it off a TV as the same as I do through xCloud on the PC, etc. Heck yeah, I'm in. That's cool. But that's none of us. There's very little reason to prefer this route over a $300 Series S. Like, the Series S is a phenomenal, low-cost, next-gen machine. If you can afford that, you might as well buy that and plug that into the TV. And Xbox has done fantastic things. They have their whole, I forget what they call it, but essentially you can do monthly installments towards the hardware, including the Game Pass. And at the end of it, I believe for the Series S, you actually pay less than MSRP for both of those. So they essentially have a built-in payment plan.
I forgot that they did that. That was a very cool system.
Yeah, like, this is an incredible time to be poor gamer. Seriously, all the free-to-play games that are coming out all the time, and some of them are actually phenomenal. And then look at this. Game Pass, $15. Boom. You've got access to all this stuff. You can play it through your phone, play it through your PC. And if you end up getting a console, you've got a fantastic, literally next-gen day one $300 1440p ray tracing machine with the Series S. Like, I understand where they're coming from for this. This is more about brand awareness and like potential customer capture. Like, hey, we can slap this on the Samsung TV box, or maybe there's some 45-year-old dad that really hates his life and really gets into playing this xCloud thing on his brand new TV that was supposed to like remedy his midlife crisis, but isn't quite scratching that itch. And so now he starts getting into gaming because of that. But at the end of the day, this really does very little, because there are better ways for true gamers to play it. And even if you can't really afford a true console or a full console, there's other better ways to play it as well. So it's cool tech. I'm glad it's out there, but ho hum.
I will say counterpoint. I'm looking very much forward to this because I mean, I'm going to get the stick, but it just means I'm not going to have to buy this console. And currently I have 500 gigabytes down, so I'm going to be playing.
That's precisely where I'm at.
I'm going to be playing on my TV instead of playing on my computer, which I'm tired of.
Have you played any gaming streaming services though?
I have not actually. So
I've played a bit of the xCloud on my phone, and it's fine. Again, it's not like
I don't expect it to be. I'm not playing Doom on this, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's on Wi-Fi too. Like, a lot of the newer I just got a new TV this week, and it has a freaking Ethernet port in the back of it, so it's like, okay, I can just hardwire my TV and get even better service. And I don't expect it to run the same as a console, but then I'm also not paying $500 for a Series X and still paying for Game Pass. I'm only paying for Game Pass. So yeah, I think that's worth it.
My point is more just that the tech, the problem with the tech is not where you can access it, because they've now made it accessible pretty much anywhere. The problem is that it's still fine. There are still noticeable artifacts, and it's a problem across the industry. Like, I watch a lot of HBO Max because they have a lot of great stuff, but their stupid fucking compression on their videos is god awful. Like any dark scene,
Yeah.
you get green blotches all over it.
Yeah.
Even though similar to David, I've got it hardwired into the router, and it's pumping 4K HDR, but compression spoils the shit out of it. So the problem is not the accessibility. The problem is the actual streaming tech. That's where I want to see them put
My counterpoint is it's the Netflix effect of like, it doesn't have to be great. It just has to be good enough for a lot of people to good enough and affordable for a lot of people to get in. And I think like you said, this is going to help some people get into this ecosystem, which that's Xbox's whole game right now. And the chat loves your appeal to poor gamers. King Kieran gives a point to Ian for "Let's go broke gamers," and Tsunyama gives a point.
Many years. It was tough, man. God bless pirating.
I was saying, look at you now. You got a bunch of consoles just hung up on the wall behind you. You're not even using.
That's right.
And Tsunyama gives you a point as well, saying "broke gaming."
Thank you.
Pridge. Oh, and Young Hodor just gives you a point saying based Ian. Pridge, final topic of round one. What would you like to talk about?
I would like to talk about Nintendo and their jailing of Gary Bowser.
Just absolutely destroying a man. Yes. Take it away.
All right. So Nintendo sued this hacker, Gary Bowser, no relation to Doug Bowser, the guy who works for Nintendo. I'll just get that out of the way.
Very
real quickly.
wild, yeah.
No relation to
Very funny
Bowser.
that a company that made a character called Bowser is he the president or what is he?
CEO of Nintendo of America.
So sorry, yes, has a CEO named Doug Bowser and then just sued a hacker named Gary Bowser. Didn't think Bowser was that common of a name. I stand corrected.
There are dozens of us. Dozens.
There are dozens. But the most important thing here is Gary Bowser was a member of a hacker group called Team Executor, but obviously there was no first E. It just started with Executor, because that's cool gamer lingo.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
X gonna give it to you.
And this guy has been sentenced to 40 months in prison, some of which have already been served. I think like close to 20 of months have already been served, so he's got like less than 2 years, assuming there's no appeals and such. And the big thing I want to talk about is the Nintendo is it's in the title of this article, but Nintendo said hacker Gary Bowser's jail sentence was a unique opportunity to send a message.
Ugh.
And what I want everyone to do is go to Google, type in just 2 words, Nintendo sues. And then pretty much type in anything. Just type in anything after that. Child, couple, ROM site, team, hacker, just any like gaming word or person word, and you're gonna find an article about Nintendo suing someone for something. It's I got 3 tabs. 12.12 million from the people who ran the websites Love ROMs and Love Retro. I got another one when they sued that company that was doing their own Mario Kart tours in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
I got another one for a ROM site, ROM Universe. So my question is, what unique fucking opportunity, Nintendo? You sue everyone. You take down everything.
You've been sending this message for years.
You've been sending the same message for years. It's called "You hate people enjoying your content." We get it. This is not a unique opportunity. You do this all the fucking time. And it's so funny that I think, like, this way, that everyone will know not to mess with us. You fucking sued anyone who, like, puts a song of yours on YouTube without your permission. Everyone knows by the year of our Lord 2022 that Nintendo is super overprotective of its IP.
Yeah.
We do not need any additional messages. We get it loud and clear. Anyone who's still doing it has heard the message and just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, this was a hacker group, so all the people Nintendo has sued, this is probably one of the more deserving ones, but That's not really what I wanted to talk about. It's just that how funny it is that they're claiming this is a unique opportunity to do this when that's complete BS.
Yeah, one thing I did want to shout out in this particular case that feels especially egregious, and this is probably not Nintendo's fault, this is more of the prison system's fault, but because of COVID, this man has been in a private jail cell for 23 hours a day for nearly 6 months now. He only gets let out a couple times. Once is to shower for 30 minutes. The rest of the time he is in solitary confinement. And that just feels especially egregious.
Yeah, and that's not Nintendo's fault.
That's not Nintendo's fault.
Yeah, there is nothing they can do to make that worse or remedy it. That's entirely a prison system. It is a sad afterthought to this, but that unfortunately has zero to do with Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo did want a 5-year total sentence. And I think they were arguing for a 19-month sentence, and it got split somewhere in the middle at 40, with again some double-digit number of months already served.
Yeah.
Fucking abolish prisons, Jesus Christ.
It's pretty fucking bad.
Yeah.
We like money, you know?
Why, Shiggy?
Yeah, exactly. Oh shit, Shigeru, you're here.
Yeah, decide to do a run-in. We're very litigious.
Where?
Thank you, Shiggy, we know.
How's Chris Pratt?
And the unique opportunity is usually we don't get to put people in jail. That's a new one.
Oh.
That was the unique part.
So that's the unique opportunity is we can put people in jail now. So that's great. We have precedent. We're just gonna jail people. Thank you.
Wow. Straight from the horse's mouth, folks.
Nintendo opening up private prisons confirmed.
Yeah, at this point, honestly, just make your own prisons.
Yeah, man, I don't know what it is. I always seem to miss the Shiggy interviews. He just does a run-in, can never be in the same room at the same time. I just don't get it.
It's amazing. We get great guests here, and Ian. Catching up with the chat though, streaming our way, which is Chris, gives a point to Pritch for the Google goofs. Suniyama gives a point to Pritch for Nintendo Sue's Blank is a fun game. And Kinkiran says Nintendo hates gamers. Hard facts. All right, folks, that was the first round. We're going to go through the second round. I'm going to put a time limit on these because we spoke quite a bit longer in those, although the discussions were very good.
Hector.
What?
I just got a point from Hector for Smash.
Oh,
naming
snap.
The Great Fire Emblem Lord first.
Whoever names a... Okay. Technically, David did it, so sure.
Is a lord.
Elise, what would you like to talk about for your second topic of the show?
Let's talk about this Midnight Suns preview. Because this has got me pretty interested in the game. I was already kind of on board. I was like, this might be bad, but also I kind of trust Firaxis to make a good game. Previews are coming out really, really high on this. It's basically a small a small tactics game, by which I mean the individual levels are quite small with a smaller number of characters. You're not going in with XCOM where you have 7 or 8 characters, or Fire Emblem where you could go in with 13. You're going in with 3 or 4 characters in missions that'll take a single digit number of turns usually. And they describe these missions as puzzle-like in that they kind of had to replay them a few times to figure out the scenario of moves that they could do to actually get all the objectives done in time, which sounds really interesting to me. The card system, they describe it as feeling not very limiting and just a lot of fun to figure out what your characters are able to do at any given time. Which sounds really good to me. And apparently it also has Persona or Fire Emblem Three Houses elements of you play as this new character, the Hunter, who's been around for hundreds of years, and there's seconds between missions where you walk around and just hang out with the Marvel characters.
Yeah.
And do fucking social links with them, which sounds fun.
Honestly, it sounds pretty rad. I'm into it. My question is, can I go to Bone Town with any of them?
Yeah, at the end of the game, you can marry Spider-Man.
Hell yeah, go web
Game of the
go.
year. We done. Game of the
Yeah,
year.
who is
Game
also
of the
being
year.
voiced by is it
Pizza
Yuri?
Time.
I think it's Yuri, yeah.
Yeah, it's being voiced by Yuri,
Lonto.
which is awesome.
I mean,
yeah,
Spider-Man is known for his web shooters, you know. Good,
that's true.
good partner choice.
Yeah.
Does it come out of anywhere else?
It's too messy.
Sorry, Lisa.
This has got me thinking of. There's two games that I kind of think of here. One is Duelist with a Y, which was a pretty good but now shut down tactics card game. There's like a competitive game that I played a little bit and I had a lot of fun with. And the other one is actually Into the Breach, which is a small tactics game where you know what the enemies are going to do in the next turn, and your goal is to like stop them from doing damage to the environment, to the like houses, the people, often by body blocking or like moving them away. And that kind of like small puzzly tactics game, I really, really like Into the Breach, and this reminds me of that, which makes me really excited.
Yeah, a lot of the footage that we got out of the previews showed like a lot of environmental stuff of like you knocking enemies into explosives, just like in the old video games. You got a red barrel, throw an enemy into it, they blow up, they die instantly, or hitting an enemy into another enemy and then both of them blowing up. And I was like, that sounds really fun. Like I enjoy like adding the environment to the tactical gameplay, which is cool. And sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, so another game that I want to throw on the heap that it sounds like this is borrowing heavily from, not in a bad way, honestly in a fantastic way, is one of my favorite turn-based strategy games, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Ooh.
So when I'm thinking about things like, each character has specific unique abilities, and most of them are on cooldowns. You can pop this every 1 or 2 or 3 turns. It sounds somewhat similar to a card system, but less random. In Mario plus Rabbids, very, very few of the battles were just clear the enemy. A lot of them were objective or timer based, like get to this objective within 5 turns, clear the enemy within 3 turns, get to the end of the map type of thing. There's also another thing that was mentioned in the preview, which is honestly surprising, but is a good thing that should have been done in XCOM years and years ago. They're getting rid of shot percentage. It sounds like you will know if your shot is going to hit or not.
Yeah.
Which is good, because Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I'm getting so excited. The game's fantastic. It did something very similar, which is that
It just made it a flat, like a 25, 50, 75 or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was like 100%. If they're behind half cover, it's a 50%. If they're behind full cover, it's a 0%. And that made the strategy better, because you didn't have this random dice roll to fuck things up, quite frankly. And so hearing them make these changes, which are big departures from the XCOM formula, but they're in the direction of the quite frankly better game series, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
You're so wild,
It's making me happy. It's making me happy. I got a full video on it. Subpixelfilms.com. Go check it out. It's
God damn it.
It's an incredible game. If you haven't played Mario plus Rabbids and you love turn
it's a good game.
games,
it's a great game. Even it's not better than XCOM.
Yeah, it is.
Catching up with the chat, Tsunyama gave a point to Chris, who's not on the show even. Chris did give a point to David for the Spider-Man joke, which I'm not going to say again on stream. Tsunyama gave a point to Elise, and Mackie took away a point from David for being a card gamophobe. Which it's
true.
It's true.
That's true.
Speaking of, David, you're. Oh no, sorry. Wait, whose turn is it right now? It is you. Okay.
You're right.
What would you like to talk about?
Let's talk about memes, and by memes I mean meme stocks, people. We're talking GameStop.
Really quick, Hector does give a point to Ian, because Ian Disa is a great guitar player. If anyone knows this band, I'll 100% follow up with a point for that. But I
love them. They're great. Give me more points.
Sorry, you said GameStop we're talking about?
GameStop.
All right, take it away.
Game stonks. Listen, so it's apparently becoming very common nowadays where if a GameStop employee needs to take a lunch break or go to the bathroom, they just have to close the whole store because there's so few people there. And the story for this one came out where an entire store in the Gateway Mall of Lincoln, Nebraska, all of the GameStop employees quit at the same time, posted a sign that were like, hey, GameStop patrons, we're getting like dicked over by our district manager all the time. They don't care about us. We out. Here are the locations of 3 different game stores that are not run by GameStop. Go spend their money there. First off, absolutely go get them, employees.
Hell yeah.
Go fucking get them. Absolutely great work. You're getting mistreated. Fuck them. Get out of there. So good job to the employees. Good job standing up for yourselves and making news with this and making ripples. Second, like, listen, GameStop's a piece of shit right now. I'm just gonna say it. GameStop is an absolute piece of shit.
Hot take.
They have gone from a relatively failing brick and mortar like game seller to, oh, we're gonna make our GameStops into like a cool social space for gamers where they come and spend money and stuff because they're gonna spend their time here and, you know, get close to other gamers, which was a cool idea. Too bad they started to do it right in the middle of like right when a pandemic hit. That was a bummer. It's a real shame that they had to close probably the majority of their 5,830 stores at this point. And really, they've just pivoted really hard since they got investors. The one guy from Chewy, whose name I don't forget, Cohen, something like that. Something Cohen.
I think that's right. Yeah.
I know his last name. I just don't remember his first name. Has pretty much taken over their board. If you read the last part of Reggie Fils-Aimé's book, he also talks about it a little bit. There were people on the board who were really trying to build up GameStop as like an actual, you know, seller of games again and like bring it into the good graces of the people again. And basically all the meme stock people that came in and made investments during that time just kicked out everyone who actually cared about GameStop. Now they're just trying to build it up so they can fucking sell it, is the idea. And they're making their own blockchain wallets. They're fucking NFTs. GameStop's a piece of shit. Absolutely do not support this shit anymore. It is a real bummer because I have some very fond memories of GameStop and Funko Land back when it was Funko Land.
Babbage's represent.
Wait, I think it was Funko Land by us. I lived in the same area as you.
No, I mean, there's also Babbage's.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like saying you remembered Babbage's.
Oh, no,
it
no.
was Funko Land in our neck of the woods. What are you talking about? But yeah, and it's just like all of the focus is now on this, like basically pumping this stock up with NFTs and all this stupid shit. They're not treating their employees right. They're not staffing their stores correctly. They're not paying their employees enough. All of the new investors do not care about the employees. Shocker. Hey, capitalism doesn't really care about the employees. And it's all just a fucking shame. And it legitimately saddens me to see a place that I like loved so much growing up. Like I went and got the Game Informer each month. I walked like a mile and a half to Westwood Plaza. If anyone lives on the west side of Cincinnati, you might know that place. Fucking walked like a mile and a half there. Went to Media Play and then swung by the Funko Land and picked up Game Informer each month. Read that shit cover to cover. It was such a good time, and it's gone at this point. I'm kind of surprised they're keeping Game Informer up at this point.
Wild, absolutely wild to me that Game Informer exists.
Game Informer, so I wouldn't be shocked to see that go away, which will make me also sad.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that Game Informer was owned by GameStop.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either, actually.
Yeah. It's wild. They don't own GameSpot, but they do own Game Informer. Which
I don't think they were always owned by GameStop. But
but they have one of the highest subscription numbers of any magazine because it's commonly bundled into the GameStop Pro Rewards.
That makes sense. Interesting.
Interesting. They've been doing that for like over a decade at this point. But it's a shame. I hate to see where GameStop has gone, all because of like investor craze and stupid shit. So it's a bummer. I'm sad. That's all.
Well, Beck agrees with you, gives a point to David for dropping truth bombs, and Beck also took away a point from Ian for lying about knowing Ian Disa. So
Decent nuts. How about
Yeah,
that?
I
You know?
almost made that joke earlier. And I was like,
I
nah,
know.
we can.
I thought that was the joke. I was like, what's going on here?
You eating these nuts?
Damn. Ian, what would you like to talk about for your second topic, though?
I hate to keep the depressing trend, but we have to talk about Diablo Immortal.
Oh,
oops.
yeah.
The
Mute myself.
expectations were so low for this game. They did an incredible job of putting the bar on the floor through that like 2-3 year announced dev press cycle. And somehow when the game came out, they like limboed under it. And I don't know how. It was like beautiful, god-awful train wreck acrobatics. Quick history lesson. Diablo Immortal announced at BlizzCon a couple of years ago. This is the game where the way that they teased it, everybody thought it was Diablo 4, and then it wasn't. It was Diablo mobile game, and people very clearly had a reaction to that, a negative reaction, to the extent that on the stage, members of Blizzard said, too bad, you're going to like it anyways, get used to it, and things like that. I don't think Sats talking your audience at your game launch or game announcement is a good idea.
Yeah,
And
this
then
is
from there-
the infamous. You have phones, don't you? Line.
Yeah. And it was just, man. And this is coming off of Diablo 3 having an awful launch. They eventually did turn that game around, but that game was basically unplayable that first day or two of launch because of auction house network issues. Here's the thing, though. This game, it's kind of a mixed bag. And here's the problem with it. It turns out it's actually a decent Diablo game in terms of playing Diablo. It runs well on the phone. It has like a huge amount of settings that you can tweak. It's Diablo. If you want to play more Diablo, you've got it on your phone now, and they even have a PC version. Cool. Neato. The problem, it's riddled with microtransactions to the extent that this game is literally pay to win. Somebody did the math. If you want to fully upgrade a character in this game, max them out, $110,000 is how much you would basically have to spend to do that. Or you could just grind for, I'm assuming, hundreds of thousands of years. Plenty of videos out there of people posting examples of whales. These are people who spend a lot of money in the game to get the best gear, and they're easily winning PvP games or just cruising through PvE sections, whereas people who have not are getting stuck or having to grind for hours and hours and hours. The game currently has I don't give a shit about Metacritic, but apparently the user score on Metacritic from 2,500 user ratings is 0.5 out of 10.
Damn.
Yeah. And okay, before I get to my take, in case you haven't guessed it yet, there's two incredible quotes here from the game's director, Wyatt Cheng. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do these in backwards order. He recently said that the backlash to the game was, quote, based on misinformation surrounding it. Quote, months earlier, Chang had said, end quote, in Diablo Immortal, there is no way to acquire or rank up gear using money, end quote. So he set his own expectations of there's no pay to win, and it turns out the game is full of pay to win, and now he's pissed at the fans because they're getting things wrong and misunderstanding it. This game is insane. I saw a video on TikTok the other day of somebody who spent $10,000 on in-game loot in Diablo Immortal, and they got 0 legendary gems. And the legendary gems are basically like the end-game content that you need to upgrade your character to get to max level. And just completely wasted money. So here's my take. We knew this was coming, and somehow it's like much worse than we could have imagined. But I think the worst part of this is that this is like totally 120,000% avoidable. Like, you decided we're going to take a very popular IP that I wouldn't say they've abandoned, but fans wanted Diablo 4, and instead they picked a mobile game with it. They decided to make it pay to win, full of microtransactions, all sorts of mobile annoyances. Like, I played the game once and I get notifications multiple times per day where just like, you've received a scroll, come back to Diablo. And it's like, shut up. all these things that any one of those could kill a game. And they've been killing games for more than a decade now. And they decided, what if we make a game that has every single one of these to the maximum? Turn all the dials up to 11. We'll release it out and people will be happy about it. They're not stupid. How could they have done this? It's just so disappointing to see them do this to themselves.
It's what makes it more frustrating is, like you said, apparently the gameplay is actually pretty fun. And I've heard a lot of people, you can play the game up to level 30 and not really hit like a hard wall, a hard paywall essentially. And everybody who plays it that amount is like, yeah, this game's pretty great. And then you hit the wall and it's like, okay, I don't mind paying a little bit to continue, which like, absolutely. I'll totally pay money in a free to play game to enjoy more of the content or just because I'm like, hey, well, I've spent X amount of hours, why not? But
Yeah.
at a certain point it does become really gross, and this game seemingly has very much hit that point. So
Yeah, I'll close it out with this. I saw a very upsetting, quite frankly, and depressing testimonial on Reddit, and it was somebody saying, I'm a Diablo fan. I was really having fun playing this game, but I started to notice that it was really taking advantage of me in terms of tendencies to put money in. And I had to stop myself from playing this game because even though I love the gameplay, it is deliberately playing into weaknesses I have towards money and microtransactions, etc. And I had to literally force myself to uninstall this game as like a self-help measure.
Yeah.
And that is very depressing.
yeah. I was about to say Jason in the chat agrees with you. I don't know if he does, but he gives a point to Ian for existing as Ian. So there you go. Hey,
Thanks.
Pridge, final topic of the show. What are you going to talk about? Bring us home.
I'm actually going to talk about Sanic.
Ooh,
Whoa!
Sanic
We haven't talked about Sanic the Her.
So we got our first look at everyone's favorite chili dog loving hedgehog's newest or next big game, Sonic Frontiers. And I did watch this first hands-on preview, and much like how Zach worded it in the list of articles, my reaction was, okay. There's some stuff here that I like, and there's also some stuff here that, if not improved upon, could be pretty freaking bad.
Yeah.
The actual article Zach put on here from IGN, I thought it was pretty well written. This person seemed a bit more excited than I was, but I did point out some of the big issues with that, like, it's weird to see this big open world and they're just random rails floating around for no reason. Like, it's a bit of visual, cognitive weirdness with like this really artsy, foresty open world and then just random Sonic obstacles everywhere. It doesn't feel like it fits super well. And they also point out the boss fight that they had tried had a lot of issues with it, which, yeah, man, you ever play a Sonic game? They ain't known for their boss fights, guys. They ain't known for their boss fights.
Wow.
Some
but at
would
the
say
same
combat,
time,
period.
David, could you ask Goggles what he thinks of boss fights in Sonic games when you get a chance?
Based on the like hour and a half long last boss fight of Sonic 06, probably
Oh my
not great.
god. Yeah, that was miserable.
But at the same time, I do think Sonic and this Morgan, they don't like calling it open world. They like calling it open zone. Which, okay, whatever. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, come on, guys.
Whatever. Yeah, your worlds are called zones, so it's the same thing. Stop being persnickety about it. I do think Sonic can work in this sort of open world concept. Again, there are honestly some things from this preview that I did like. My biggest hope is that I don't want this game to come out this year.
Yes.
Yes.
They are still aiming for a holiday release. I mean, this is asking a lot of Sega. I know that, but Sega, don't rush this. Don't force this out before it's ready. Because I have nothing against the Sonic franchise. I would like more good Sonic games. And I don't know if this does come out at its intended release point. I'm not saying it's going to be trash, but like, I don't think it's going to be anything too special. But if this is fully polished and there's some improvements to some stuff, I actually think this could be pretty fun. I would, there are absolutely parts of this that look pretty freaking cool. And I would like those pretty freaking cool parts to be the majority of the game and to control well.
Yeah.
Which, again, a thing that Sonic games sometimes have a problem with. And some things that this demo had some problems with. So
Yeah.
Sega, just please rein it in. Everything else is getting delayed. You can delay this too. No one's really gonna care that much, besides people who bitch about every delay, but just ignore them. They suck. So yeah, just delay this. Let this come out some point in 2023. Make this as clean as possible, because I would like to play a good Sonic game. I think that's too much to ask for.
Yeah, I think you put it exactly how I would have. Exactly like you said. I hope that they don't rush this game. The billion jokes with Sonic, got to go fast, got to develop fast, whatever. But
Develop fast.
like, it does feel like there is something here, and if they would just take the time, because this does look like a pretty polished, but it does look like a tech demo.
Yeah,
and
it's very pretty, but you can see in some control areas that things are not going to control amazingly the way it looks, but that's to be expected from this very early, well, maybe not very early, but this early product.
Yeah.
I feel like if they give this the time it needs, which is probably a lot, this could be the first good Sonic game.
I agree with you. This feels like a vertical slice demo at E3 2 years before release.
Yeah.
But them saying it's going to be out within the next 6 months and 3 weeks, that has me worried.
Yeah. I don't think it needs 2 years. I think they could easily do this summer of 2023, but I don't think this will be this will definitely miss potential if it comes out this year.
I agree. Oh gosh, y'all tied the score at the end. Ugh. Chat. Beck gave a point to Pridge for trying to stay optimistic. Tsuneyama gave a point for saying Breath of the Wild got several delays, and look what happened to it after taking their time. That's true. And Mackie gives a point saying, "You can do it, Sonic. You can delay your game." Gosh darn it, I hate when we get ties in the show, because I really have never solved the thing. Oh shit, there it is. Chris and Beck both taking away a point from Ian because he can't win. Also, he ignored my good Photoshop, and because Ian doesn't even go here. You hate to see it.
That fits.
At the end, just taking...
I don't know why you invited me on this show, because I realized this show is just about like unrestrained rants. And you don't want me here.
Honestly, Ian, you maintained yourself very well this stream, so I appreciate. I want you to know I appreciate.
I thought your
that.
rants were pretty well constrained.
Yeah. I was pretty impressed.
I expected a Summer Game Fest Part 2 rant.
Yeah.
I was waiting for somebody to pick it. Fuck Last of Us. Why waste the money and resources on a fucking remake of a PS4 remaster, you idiot.
If only you had won.
You are right about that.
If only you had won and you could have talked about it. But that's going to do it for this week's stream, which does mean David, Ian, and Elise get to go home and become family folks, because this winner is Pridge. Pridge, are you ready for your minute to win it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, take it away.
All right, so 95 hours in, I beat Persona 5. And by beat, I mean I intentionally got a bad ending so I could replay the entire game again and get the true ending the second time, because I'm insane.
Good God.
Because I am an insane person. Hey, y'all.
He looked straight into the camera as he said that, too.
Hey, y'all, Persona 5 Royal, really fucking good game, guys. It's a really good game. Also, when you play it a second time, you can skip all the dialogue, and that's like 30 less hours already. Because that game has a fuck ton of dialogue. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Persona 5. Wish every adult wasn't either an asshole or trying to hit on my character. But you know what? That just is what it is. But yeah, I don't really have much more to say besides I finally got around to playing Persona 5, and it's definitely in my top 10 games of all time.
Wow. Okay. Well, glad you're enjoying it so much.
Didn't shock me, but I can't believe you're playing that game twice.
God, yeah. What the hell?
Back too.
What the
Gotta play
hell?
more Persona!
Oh,
You're
God.
fucking monster Fridge in all the best ways.
Oh.
It's so much Persona.
Never enough Persona. Gotta complete the compendium. Gotta start every Persona. Max every confidant.
Oh my god.
Folks, that is going to do it for this week's Around the Monitor. If you like this, again, catch it live on twitch.tv/SavedInATeam, as well as several other things we do here. And thank you to Ian for being on this show. Ian, do you want to tell the folks about your content?
Yeah, you can find Subpixel content at subpixelfilms.com. We do the exact same thing Save Data does, but better.
Whoa!
Dig in. I got one dig in.
Whoa!
You can also find me personally on Twitter at ThinkGibson, where I've just been screenshotting really weird things I've been finding in a local Facebook marketplace. So if you guys want a picture, it's a white t-shirt, but it just has a ball sack right here, so it makes your head look like the dick. $4.99.
Wow.
Hit me up. I got a link somehow.
Maybe don't go to that Twitter account.
I have a friend that kind of looks like Beaker. I kind of want that shirt.
Yes. It's a pretty cool shirt, honestly.
Wow.
I want to give that to him.
Damn. Other things to plug. Hey, folks, next Saturday, June 18th, we're going to be streaming for about 10 hours live. We've got a whole bunch of things, including a Chaos Jeopardy hosted by Pridge. We're going to be doing a WWE 2K 2022 championship, in which all of the Saved Data members are characters duking it out. And we're going to be playing competitive XCOM, where we can screw each other over as we try to fight aliens. Be very excited for that. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it. Take care until we see you next. And this has been Around the Monitor.